The next company is Premier Roadlines Limited. They have a audio video. Let me play that.
Hello everybody, good afternoon. This is Saman Gupta from Premier Roadlines Limited, the Director and CFO. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you Nitin ji for having us here. So what you just saw, like a video, was a visual representation of what we do and what we call as project logistics and ODC logistics. So that is our expertise, and that is what we are here for, and that is what we cater to since 1986. So I'll keep my presentation very precise and intact. So this is how it will be looking like, who we are, and what makes us better, and how we've grown, and what is our focus area. So talking about who we are, who Premier Roadlines Limited is. So we are an IB approved, ISO certified logistics service provider, which is doing dry cargo from 1 metric ton to 50 metric ton. And I'm the third generation here. Currently, my father and me are actively involved in this managing of the entire company. It's been 2 years since I've joined the particular organization, and we do these four major services to our customers, which is project logistics and ODC, which is fairly the same thing, and then contracted integrated logistics, general logistics, and fleet rentals. So I'll put some more light as we go around. So this is project logistics and ODC. So what you see here is multiple equipments going together, multiple equipments going for a project. So that is what we call project logistics. So to throw some more light on it, so project logistics can be like for customers like L&T, Technip, Technomont, Toyo, somebody like them who's won a project from from the Indian government or whoever, and they want to give a project to a logistics service provider. So from the smallest pin to the largest vessel, they nominate a logistics service provider, a professional logistics service provider to say. So this is what we do in project logistics, and ODC is over dimension cargo. So ODC is just one piece, project logistics is the entire project that has to be moved. So the other services that we have is contracted integrated logistics and general logistics. So contracted integrated logistics, I'll explain you. So these are contracts that we have with many industrial goods companies, and they might vary from 1 year to 3 years. And this is normally the type of vehicles that you see here is what you see on the road very frequently. General logistics is something that, it is not a contract, it is not an ODC, it is not nothing, it's just on the spot, or it is maybe a hilly terrain requirement or something of that sort. So that is what we consider as general logistics. So fleet rental is also a business that we do. We give fleets to many sites and many ongoing, I would say, developments in the in the country, and we are actively involved in this. So we have 30 plus clients who we are working for, and to name a few, it's APCO, Infratech, it's L&T, and many more which are involved. So what makes us better from the competition? So I'll just highlight. So we are an asset light model, and we don't own any trucks. I mean, we do own hydraulic axles and pullers, but we do not own majority of the fleet that we operate in and from where the revenue comes from. The second thing is the esteemed clientele. So I would say the biggest asset that our company and especially my father and my grandfather has built over the past few decades is the esteemed clientele. So you name the client and you name the company, and we are a part of them, and we are very choosy with the clients we work for. We work for only the top and only the best, who pay on time and who are valuing our services and are system driven. So one of our key metrics is that we don't work for promoter driven companies, we only work for system driven companies. So we are catering to diversified industries. So any industry which is booming and have a tailwind of the government and initiatives, we are working there. Pan-India presence. So I'll explain the asset-light model. So easier scalability, that goes without saying. Operational efficiency. So I'm here to cater to my customer needs rather than the needs of my driver, the needs of my vehicles. So that makes my operations much more smoother, and I'm able to concentrate more on the customer needs rather than the fleet needs. So enhanced flexibility is there. I can outsource any sort of vehicle from any supplier and supply it to the customer. It is not just that the one that I own I can have to supply. So reduced capital intensity of obviously, risk mitigation and improved returns. So pan India presence. So every state we have a presence and every state we have an office. So this number grew from 28, post listing this number grew from 28 to around 44. And the total number of vehicles that we've handled in the past year was roughly 20,000, 19,851. And the employee strength on the payroll is 210. Just a glimpse of our esteemed clients who we are working with. Apart from this, we're working for Siemens, we're working for Schneider, we're working for any big name that you can think of where there's an entry barrier. We believe that companies where there's an entry barrier, there's high margins, there's high recognition of our efforts. So our main focus and our main criteria is to work for them. So we are catering to diversified industries, so EPC contractors, power, oil and gas, renewable energy. So I'll throw some light on renewable energy here because it's usually the talk of the decade, I believe. So in renewable energy, we are working in two parts. One is solar and one is wind. For solar, it's been around for a very long time, and my father has been doing it since the past 10 years. For solar companies, we've been transporting solar panels. These comes into the general cargo. So we're working for Tata Power Solar, we're working for Siemens Gamesa, we're working for any big organization you can name. In the wind energy, so very lately in a wind energy is where there is a lot of professionalism, there's a lot of, I would say, skills involved, because when you see the wind blade, so we have the capability of transporting the entire windmill project except the blade. So we can do the tower, we can do the nacelle, and very soon, maybe in the next quarter or so, we will be able to do the wind blade as well, which goes as high as 75 meters in length. So we're working for heavy engineering, we are working for infrastructure, energy and construction equipment sector. So I'll be talking about some financials and how we've grown over the past and how the metrics look like. So the number of orders have seen a good increase over the past few years, and you can see like a flattish figure of FY23 and 24. That's because we are trying to cut down on the general logistics and we are trying to focus on more project cargo and project logistics. And that goes to see in the average revenue per order as well, because the average revenue per order has increased because we're focusing on project logistics more rather than general logistics. The number of customers have seen a decrease from the past, and we want to decrease it even further. So we are one sort of customer, a company who chooses the customer and not the customer chooses us. Of course, it goes both ways, but we are very choosy with the customers we work for. We are very choosy with the sort of work we are implementing. The revenue from operations has seen a steady growth in the past, and last year we did 229 crores. Last year we were doing 192, and the EBITDA margins are also seeing a gradual increase, and so is the PAT margins. The return on equity, because we are an asset-light business and it is a working capital-intensive business that we are operating in, it is quite a good number, 37% and 26% respectively. Focus area. So industry, Indian logistics sector, it is, it is an evergreen sector and it is an evergreen industry. Even in the times of COVID, it was not at all hampered and it was always moving. So the trucks never stop. And when there's industrialization happening, when the big companies are manufacturing these big vessels, this industry will stay for long. This is not going anywhere. So government initiatives like Sagarmala, Make in India, Gati Shakti, easing of FTA norms, and then government initiatives, and more towards renewable energy and power projects. So once a company establishes a renewable energy project, so a lot of things get going. It is not just one project that they just start and it's done. So they need a transformer, they need multiple solar panels, they need multiple foundations, they need multiple towers to be coming in. So when all of this is a requirement, we come into the picture, and being there in the industry for so many decades, we are one of the suppliers and preferred suppliers and partners to many. So we had an IPO in the month of May this year, and we raised 40 crores, and out of which we paid 15 crores back to the debt, and 3 crores we purchased vehicle. And working capital needs, 14 crores we utilized in the working capital and 4 crores per GCP. So this is what we purchased, and it is very contrary to what I was saying earlier, like we were an asset-light business. So we want to be an asset-right business. So we just want to be like, I would say, a Taj, that they want to own the best properties and lease the not high footfall properties. So that is what we want to do. That we want to be very selective in the assets we own, and assets we take from vendors. And that is the reason why we purchase these assets. And going forward, we want to increase the fleet to a decent number so that the customers are able to trust us more, and there's a little less dependency on the vendors. But going forward also, there will be, I would say, less than 10% of our revenue would be coming from our own fleet. But apart from that, it will be just, I would say, from the outsourced vendors. That's about it. I speak very quickly, so I'm done. And I'll open the question answer round.
Good to see young promoters. Floor is open for Q&A. Are you guys awake or what? Any questions? Yes, sir. You can come ahead if you wish.
Yeah, I just wanted to understand Surya this side. So there are two set of companies that are coming over to the market. One is like you that was saying we are asset light, and you don't believe much in the ownership, rather utilization from the suppliers. So other set of people are asset ownership. So in the long run, who is going to benefit? And because in terms of let's say when the economy will do well, then obviously the higher weightage will be given to the people who are owning the vehicles rather than you. So what is your take on that for the long term? And secondly, if you can give a typical example where you win versus the owners.
All right.
Yeah.
So I've understood your question. So basically, I personally believe that the person and the company who is operationally excellent and giving good services, whether it's asset light or asset heavy, will be winning in the long term. Because no matter how many assets you own, no matter how many assets you do not own, unless and until you're not able to solve the bigger problem, there's no point of your existence in the organization or in the industry. So that is what I believe in, and I would say that there should be a right mix. Too much asset may also be not good, because then comes the asset turnover and I would say rotations, a turn load, front load, something like that. It gets too complicated. Secondly, I'll give you a typical example of how we are better and how it would look like. So talking about us, so we're an asset light company. We are just focusing on the customer. We are not focusing on our own vehicles. And we are not focusing on managing the own vehicles. We don't have a fleet department. We don't have a department to manage the maintenance. We don't have anything like that. But as and when if a company is asset heavy, they will have to be looking at the other aspect also of maintaining their own fleet and making sure they're running on time and getting the front load and the back load as well. So that area focus and energy focus is where you lack the opportunity to seize more business. So if I'm only focused on getting more business and serving the customer and outsource things, I would be able to scale faster when compared to the other operator.
So you are seen as an aggregator of the assets, because then you would be competing in the market with other of your peers who are also having asset light, because then obviously there are few owners who would be definitely competing with you because for a yield consideration, because suppose you don't give that kind of yield what your competitor gives, then obviously you won't get the vehicle. Then what is your call?
See, there's no shortage of vehicles in the market. You pay on time, you pay the advance and balance of the vehicles, and you have a good relation with the vendors. There's no shortage of vehicles on time. So you take a vehicle anytime you want and you fulfill the requirements of the customer. That won't be an issue. Is what I've understood, that how will be the requirements like, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and you don't see any advantage to the asset owner SS?
I don't see any advantage as such of asset owners.
Okay, thank you.
Sir.
Yeah, good afternoon. My name is Rajan. So currently I'm looking at there is a huge demand for the prefab structures going on, and also there is a huge modularization going on because rise in the manpower cost at the site. So do you think any increase in the demand for your business because this kind of structures are made at the vendor shop and then they are transported to the site?
Absolutely. So that's been happening since many decades now, and it's been ever increasing due to the government initiatives. And as long as manufacturers are, making these big vessels and equipments, there will be an increasing demand of this.
Yeah.
And the customers we're working for are choosing, companies like us, professionally owned companies like us. So we don't see any problem in terms of demand going forward.
Yeah, and there's another question is like I have seen there is vessels, exchangers. I've seen on your pictures, they are usually from the Technip or Technimont or
Yes.
from the L&Ts kind of companies. So usually these are 3 to 4 years kind of projects when the delivery is at the peak during the last year.
Correct.
And majorly during the March end.
Correct.
There is a kind of cyclicality in the business?
Yes, absolutely. There's a cyclicality in the business. The H1 is slightly leaner and
Okay.
H2 is slightly more aggressive because of how the dynamics are of the industry.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
So, say there are, as you mentioned, there are ample vehicles available, resources available, and anybody can do the same thing. So, what is the differentiating factor that you will get the business and your competition will not get the business?
See, it is the legacy that we're having. It's not a 5-year-old business or a 10-year-old business. It's a 40-year-old business that we're running, and it's a brand that we've created amongst these particular organizations, and we are continuously evolving. We are having a professional ERP system in the back end. We are having the best manpower available. We are giving the best services that we can. And obviously, once that is there, we are given a preference other than others. And like I mentioned, so we are working only with companies where there's an entry barrier. So to get into that particular company's vendor base, that is a huge task. There's a proper audit that happens. So we pay as high as 2 lakhs, 3 lakhs to an auditor to come in, an external auditor to come in our organization and check our systems, check our way of working and methods of working. And that's when we get on board that particular organization. So once we are on board, we start performing, and every month there's a proper monthly, I would say, report of how we performed. So if you're performing well, we're good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. With this, we end the Q&A.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yes, Salim bhai.
I'm very happy for your ambition and the way you're driving the business. Very happy for you.
Thank you so much.
One thing you said, I know your company from many years and I have already used it, your services. One thing you said that normally you don't entertain the promoter-driven companies, but I think so I think that is the USP for the growth also. I fully understand that you want security of the payment, relationship, brand building, etc. But I think why like this?
Sir, as long as we don't know the promoter, we don't work for it. So that's we've learned it the hard way, I would say. My father has learned it the hard way. So we made it a policy that unless we know the promoter inside out, we don't work for them. And that's not going to change, sir. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Like I said, we got friends from all parts of India. Our friends from Hyderabad are here. AI Guru, Gurudas Kamath, Guru Datta Kamath, Janak, Varun. Yes, please. Oh, very nice. I think it's rare for a father to give space to son, sir. Good job by you. Guru Bhai is one of the AI gurus of India.